You're listening to Coach's Corner with Brad Anderson, the head coach of Wayzata football, sponsored by HEIDI Comfort Couture at 236 Minnetonka Avenue South, Jeff Shore at Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, Metro Photo and Frames in Wayzata, Florida Ceiling Interior Design Showroom in Wayzata, John Rotai at M&I Mortgage, The Great Frame Up in Minnetonka, and now let's go to Coach Anderson.
Dan Gustafson here for Wayzata.com. I'm here with head coach of Wayzata football, Brad Anderson. Brad, how are you this evening?
You know, I'm great tonight.
You've had an opportunity to watch the Armstrong game on film. What were your impressions of what happened there?
You know, I thought it was a good test for our team because we knew week 1 and week 2 we had two well-established teams that we were going to be playing in Eastview and Minnetonka, and I knew our players would be up for those games. And one of the questions is how are you going to do when you play an opponent that the year before we handled pretty well, and I was kind of concerned going into the game, would we prepare the way we needed to, and I was very delighted in the fact that our players, went at the week very seriously and took the task to heart, and I thought we had a good performance.
Sasha Doran threw for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns, and AJ Troop caught a couple of passes. How do you feel your offense did in terms of competing against Armstrong?
Well, if you were to take the whole picture, I'd say, there were parts we could have done better at, but overall, I thought we did a good job. Armstrong did a nice job of saying, we're not going to let you run the ball, we're going to make sure we're playing 8 guys up in the box, and, that forced us to throw the ball. But Sasha had a great night. Our offensive line provided them with lots of time and protection, and receivers were able to make big plays when they were called upon.
How did your defense do against Armstrong?
Our defense played extremely well. They, for the most part, limited them. Armstrong had a couple drives later in the game when we were subbing some other players in. But I thought our first defense did a great job of getting us the ball in good field position and really limiting Armstrong's offensive attack. So, they've been solid all season long, and that was the case again Friday, or Thursday, I should say.
You face Edina on Friday. What's Edina got this year now that they've lost Andersley, and what are you expecting to see at Edina?
Well, we were able to watch their previous 2 games, and what I saw was a club very similar to what I've seen in the past. They have a new head coach there. He was the defensive coordinator there in the past 2 years, so their defense hasn't changed. But also their offense hasn't changed. They still have weapons. They still spread you out and force you to play position football. It's a lot like option football of the 1970s where each person has to have an assignment. Well, they do the same thing, only they do it out of the spread, and they do it well. So they're a well-coached team, and they'll be a real tough test for us this week.
What are you doing to combat some of those options that you say Edina has?
Well, the big thing is we try to never let, just like they're trying to do to us, we're trying to do to them, and that is not tip off what we're going to do. As an offensive coach, you're always trying to make things look like something else and confuse the defense, and now defensively we're trying to do that back to them, and so it becomes a kind of a cat and mouse game, who can confuse the other side of the ball more, and sometimes I'm sure they'll win, and sometimes we'll win, and hopefully we win more of those than they do.
Edina seems like they're never afraid of Wayzata, maybe like some other teams are. Can you talk about the psychological game that goes on when you face a team like Edina?
Well, I think part of it stems from their head coach. Kim Nelson for a number of years came in there. He was very confident in what he was doing as a coach and got the players to believe in what they were doing. And so as a result, when you feel confident in what you're doing, you don't worry so much about who you're playing. That's kind of the same approach we take. We worry about what we're doing, and if we're doing what we believe in well, we're not so worried who we're playing. It's how we're going to perform. And so that's really what it comes down to. How well are you going to play your style of football?
Can you share anything Coach Lombardi's doing with us, to prepare for Edina with us going into this week?
Well, the big thing this week is we're trying to get our players healthy. The flu bug hit us, just like I'm sure a lot of schools, and He's done a great job of making sure we have lots of different players ready to go in there and step in and play different roles. Matt's got a number of different defensive schemes that he'll use throughout the game, and he'll try to disguise them and switch them up. So a big part of it is just making sure our players know where they fit in the run game and still being sound against the pass, because Edina, with that spread style offense, can attack you both ways.
How are you doing health-wise?
You know, we have a number of players who've been sick this week. Last week against Armstrong, we had 2 or 3 players who missed the game with flu, and other players stepped up and performed really well, and that's what we expect, and that's what has to happen. When someone's injured, or if someone is not able to practice or play because they're sick, you have to have other players who are ready to fill that spot, and I think that's the good test of good teams. You know, how do you do when maybe a couple of your players aren't there?
Grant Olson rebounded from that abdominal injury. How did you feel he performed against Armstrong, and is he going to be at full strength against Edina?
I thought he, going back to the week before where he didn't practice at all and then played against Minnetonka, and then last week against Armstrong, I wouldn't have been able to tell that he was injured going into either of those games. And, he's not 100%, but I think at this point it's really tough to tell as far as his production on the field that he's not at 100%. And I think it speaks volumes about the type of player Grant is and the type of, attitude he has about going out and performing even when he's not at 100%.
About Dan Wexler, any update on his condition and his collarbone?
Yeah, I saw Dan today. He's gaining some range of motion. It's a slow recovery process, but he's had a real positive attitude about it. The one thing Dan did before he got injured, and he's still doing now, is coaching up the other quarterbacks. He's got a lot of experience. He's our only senior quarterback, and his leadership has been just beyond belief as far as helping the other quarterbacks out to become the players that they need to play on Friday night.
Well, Coach, thanks as always for your time, and we wish you all the best against the Hornets, and look forward to speaking with you there at the game.
It should be a great game. I know it's their homecoming, and I know they're talking about a sold-out stadium, and it'll be a fun atmosphere.
All right. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Yep.